Quasi here, and in today's video, I want to share with you why neediness is the biggest thing that's blocking you from creating the reality that you want, and how to stop being needy. But by the end of this video, you're going to learn exactly how to use the being, doing, and having paradigm to first feel whole and complete and start to effortlessly create from that place. So make sure you stick around to the very end of this video. Before I begin this video, I want to quickly announce that I made a free bootcamp for you, the Identity Shifting Bootcamp. If you scroll down to the description box below, you're going to find a link to it, and you'll also get access to our exclusive email list where I can share stuff that I can't really share on the channel. So just go down to the link in the comments, click on that button, put your email in there, and you'll get some bonuses emailed to you right there. So without further delay, let's go right ahead and get started. So today I want to talk to you about the being paradigm, but mostly why neediness is stopping you and how you're unconsciously being needy and you keep chasing after things, and why neediness doesn't actually help you get what you want. Okay, so let's begin with actually defining the problem. So the biggest problem is when people are focused on when they want something, right? When we want money, when we want relationships, when we want a certain physique or health. When we want all of these things, we just focus directly on it, right? We focus on the thing that we want, the money that we want, and we forget about the thing that would bring the money, right? So the biggest problem is most people are focused on getting. So most focused on getting, which actually affirms the lack of it. So most are focused on getting, which essentially affirms the lack, which basically puts you more and more into a position where you don't already have that which you want. Okay? Now, why is this a problem? When you affirm more and more of what you don't already have and who you're already not, you create more and more of that. Your thought energy starts to resonate at that frequency of lack. When you start to resonate at the frequency of lack, more and more lack comes into your life. And the biggest reason why this happens is we start to influence our realities by the sort of thoughts, the habits that we have, the actions that we take, the beliefs that we hold to be true, and the way that we view ourselves. Okay, so we influence our lives through identity, beliefs, or your paradigm, and then your thoughts and feelings, and finally, these start to give birth to your actions. How you view yourself shapes how you view your world. How you view your world and how you view yourself shapes what predominant thoughts you have and what you predominantly feel. And then these shape the actions that you take. So to give you an example, if you start to believe that, you're only worthy of a full-time job and not a successful business, then you'll have the paradigm of, successful businesses aren't possible for everyone. Only certain special people can have a successful business and be a successful entrepreneur, which is the paradigm I used to have, right? And then this influences the predominant thoughts and feelings that you have. When you think about entrepreneurship and businesses, it makes you closed off. You feel closed off and like, oh no, that's not possible. What's the point? And that accompanies the thoughts too. And then it also influences the actions that you take. You take the action more convinced in your 9 to 5 that, okay, you know what? Going to work, this is the only thing that's left for me. This is the only thing that's possible for me. So this is the only thing that I'm going to do. But if you were, on the other hand, to try and start up your own business, you wouldn't have your heart into it. You wouldn't fully commit to it because you don't believe that it's possible. So how I can exemplify this properly is, imagine a time you went to the mailroom and you were trying to get a package in the mailroom, but you weren't sure if it's in the mailroom, right? You weren't sure if it got delivered in the first place. And then you kind of like search half-heartedly and you're like, okay, well, it's probably not there. But then you check your phone and you go on Amazon or something and you're like, wait a second, it actually delivered. So it must be in here. And now your search takes on a whole new level of conviction. Have you ever noticed this? Now when you search for something, it takes on a whole new level of conviction. And now you're like, it's already here. Let's go ahead and find it. So this is why most people fail to achieve their goals, right? They don't assume that it's already there because they think that it's an objective answer. It's like, oh, it's either there or not. They don't understand that if they assume that it's there, it's going to be there. They create, it's already there. Everything is already there. You just have to completely, fully assume that it's there. I made a video about this, the differences between belief and faith, and why faith will overpower beliefs any day of the week. So I'll put it in the comments. I'll pin the pinned comments in the comment section below. So make sure you go check that out. But there's a fundamental difference between what you believe, because belief is in the mind, and what your faith is. When the belief isn't there, the thing that comes first is the hope and the trust. So faith is a mixture of hope and trust. When you have hope and you trust, then you'll start to move forward towards the direction you want to go to. So that's how it happened for me when I started off in entrepreneurship. When I wanted to get to that 20K a month, I didn't know if it was possible because I never had confirmation. I never had proof in the mind. So I couldn't believe it. And you can't believe in something that you've never seen. But you can trust that it'll somehow happen. You can hope that somehow it'll happen. Do you see the difference? So that's the difference between faith and belief. I won't get too much into that because I put it in the comments below. But this is what I want you to understand from now. Now, why neediness, getting back to the topic of neediness, why neediness will inevitably become blocked for you is because when you need something, please look at the underlying assumption that you make when you become needy. The underlying assumption is, I do not already have, therefore I want it. I'll never be able to have, so I want it. The craving right now is in the drama of chase. You're more interested, like it gives you a sort of twisted pleasure, the feeling of not having what you want. Because it kind of affirms to you like, see, I'm not good enough. I told you I'm not good enough. The ego wants to be right. The ego wants to be right, okay? So make the ego right in the right sense, not in the wrong sense. What we do is we try to make the ego right in the wrong sense. So we're like, I'm not good enough. See, I'm not good enough. I told you. And this is why the fear of failure and the fear of success comes up in the first place, right? You're like, well, I don't want to try this because deep down I'm afraid that I'll fail. See, I did fail. And then you sort of try it half-heartedly. And you're like, see, I did fail. But it's not failure until you actually quit, right? So this is how you can sort of start to play around with your own psychology. Play around with what's going on here. So you can change the antenna so that it can start receiving frequencies and you can start emanating frequencies that actually serve you. Okay? So instead of getting, what are people who actually do become successful? What are they focused on? So let's look at the case of the ultra super duper wealthy, right? Rich people. What do the rich focus on? The rich focus on value and on giving value. So if you look at people like Bill Gates, if you look at people like Jeff Bezos, right? They were always focused on the customer, giving value. Bill Gates is focused on, curing disease in the world right now. And all of these people just gave a lot of stuff away for free. Like if you look at really, really successful entrepreneurs, they have a lot of free stuff that you can get so much value from. And when they give away free value and free material, then value, like people start to buy their stuff, right? So money is a byproduct of value being created. When you create value, then people will just throw their money at you. So what poor people do, what people who don't succeed do, is they focus directly on money, not the thing that brings in money. I want you to pay close attention to this, okay? This is why, you can't create what you want. And it's not just about money, it's about like your health, your relationships, why all of those things aren't falling into place for you. So here's what most people are focused on. So we have the three paradigms of creation. We have the being, and then the doing, and then the having. I don't know why I drew it down. If I had space, I would have drawn it to the right. Having. So here's how things work now. When you're needy and you need something, the core assumption is I'm not, okay? Let's say you want to make 20K a month and you don't already have 20K a month in your business. And your core assumption is, I'm not a 20K a month business owner. And so you're like, what can I do to get 20K a month? And then you focus mostly on how can I get that 20K a month. So your doingness is focused in the inscription of what you want. Do you see this? You focus on what can I do to get 20K a month? What can I give in order to take what I want? That's not how the rich focus on their things. They'll write a book without seeking to get anything. The only thing they seek to get is value given to the world. Right? So that's how it actually works. Now, why that works, and I want you to pay close attention to this too, is let's look at that same example of I want to make 20K a month. Let's say you want to be a 20K a month business owner. So you begin now, you flip everything. The reason why that first case of when you start being needy and you're like, what can I do in order to get, what can I take, why that doesn't work is because you keep staying stuck here when this hasn't changed, right? So when that happens, you either make 20K a month and then you find a way to like sabotage it. And we've had lots of clients who've come into the program, worked with us, who've done 80K a month in their businesses only to go bankrupt the next month, right? So all of those things happen because they didn't deep down feel worthy of it. They were always questioning it. They were like, oh, am I really worthy of this? Am I really good enough for this? They hated themselves. They didn't really like themselves. Internally, they weren't in a good place. If you're not in a good place, you'll never be able to sustain your wealth. You'll never be able to sustain whatever it is that you want in your life. You'll always sabotage it and find a way to get to your default. It's like this case of that salesman in that book, Psycho-Cybernetics, right? That sales guy always believed he was worthy of doing like 20 or 30 grand a year in commissions. And every time he would hit that 30 grand in commissions, he would like fall sick and could never work for the rest of the year. Like what would happen to him would be at the beginning of the year, in the first couple of months, he would make 30 grand. But because he only viewed himself to be worthy of the 30 grand, the rest 10 months of the year, the guy would get sick and just, people wouldn't be able to explain why that happened until he changed his self-image, until he changed his identity, until he changed the place from which he's operating from, the being. Okay? So that's what I want to show you how to do here. So let's go to the assumption that now you want to do it correctly. You want to get the correct feedback loop. So you begin with the assumption that I am this 20K a month business owner. Quasi is this 20K a month business owner. When you begin with the assumption and you fully ground it, now you can ask, well, who is this 20K a month business owner? How would they feel? How would they, think? What would they do? Now we're going to doing. So now the important thing is, which is what most people don't do, is your doingness becomes an expression of your being. Okay? Your doingness actually becomes an expression of your being. So what would 20K a month actions look like? So now you can focus on that. Once you've fully rooted yourself in, okay, let's assume that I am this 20K a month version of myself. Let's just, for the sake of it, let's just even pretend. Even that's enough. If you can't give yourself permission to be right now, give yourself permission to pretend. Be like an actor that's playing a role. I'm this 20K a month version. Let's pretend I'm this 20K a month version. What would this 20K a month version do? So this is exactly what would happen to me when I made my first 20K. Well, this 20K a month version would make 7 videos a week. And that's what I did when I went from like making 5 grand a month to 20K a month. Oh, 7 videos a week. What kind of videos would he make? How would he show up in these videos? All of those things were starting to be shaped by who I saw myself to be. How would this 20K a month version of myself show up? Here's the key part of this. This being is fully in your control. Who you are, you choose 100% of the time. There's no doubt about it. The only battle in choosing this version of yourself is the battle you have with your unconscious mind. But you can 100%, you have the full say in who you show up as every single day. This is a privilege no one can take away from you. Who you show up as is fully yours. Now, on the other hand, what you do as that 20K a month version of you, slightly limited. Slightly limited to your motor functions. One day your arms might not be working. Maybe, something terrible happens, you get in a car crash and you can't make videos. And even still, you probably would be able to make videos. But this isn't fully in your control. Maybe, in order to do that, you need some capital which you don't have. Oh, this 20K a month version of me runs ads. Maybe you don't have that, so you can't fully do that. But this is still 50% or a certain percentage in your control. Right? The doing is still a certain percentage in your control. However, this having, it's not in your direct control at all. It's in your indirect control. Okay? What you have and what you get is in your indirect control. When you focus on being and you completely align this the right way, it's just a matter of time before the having shows up. You just got to hold it in this assumption and let nothing shake this assumption. Okay, please remember this. When you are this 20K a month version of you and you try your best to act as this 20K a month version of you, the having will show up. So this is how the rich people do it, right? They focus on giving value and on being valuable. And then the money shows up. The successful athletes don't focus on winning the game. They focus on loving the game. That's the process. They focus on the process. They focus on the doing and the being. They focus on being the best version of themselves every single day. And then the having comes. Because you can't control directly whether or not you win a game. You can't. There's a lot of things, there's a lot of different factors at play. So, by the virtue of having this in your full control, that's all you need, fortunately. It's kind of like shaping a mirror that has a delay. Imagine you have a mirror and you present an image to it. Let's say you raise your hand in front of this mirror. The mirror also raises its hand. But this mirror of reality, this magical mirror, raises its hand with a delay. Okay, and this is the problem. Because it raises its hand with a delay, when you don't see an immediate change happening in your reality, and an immediate change doesn't happen because this is in the havingness is in your indirect control. When that immediate change doesn't happen, we get distraught and we start doubting ourselves. And we're like, oh, did this really work? Am I really this version? Oh no, it's not working. Let's try a myriad of little meditation techniques. Right? And that doesn't serve you either. So instead, no matter what, you hold your conviction. You hold your assumption. Every day, remind yourself of your assumption, who you're showing up as. Okay, this is what our most successful clients from the Reality Mastery Program have done. And that's why they've completely changed themselves. And after a few months, they haven't been able to recognize who they were before they came in. All right? So here's the key I want you to take away from this. So what you want to do is key. You want to emulate your desired reality. Who you've got to be as close as possible. Okay? Emulate. Emulate. The keyword is emulate. You want to emulate as close as possible. My apologies for my handwriting. It's hard to write like this. So what I mean by that is, if you were this 20K a month version of yourself, just look at what your life would look like. What's the closest you could emulate it? Even look at the things you would have. You know, maybe you wanted to buy like a really nice watch. Pretend to go on the website and search for that watch. You know, you wanted to take a vacation and you're sort of like, you have money to do it, but you don't know if, you should do it or not. Do it. If you're on the edge of doing something because you're like, oh, I'm not this version of me yet. I told myself I'll reward myself once I get it. No, do the reward now. Give yourself that reward now. Go on it. Be as if right now in this moment, as close as you can. Do what this 20K a month or whatever K a month version of you would do right now. Try your best to emulate that as close as possible. And then the little things that are not in line with it will fall into place inevitably. All right? And with that, I conclude this video. Thank you so much for watching. I sincerely hope this was helpful. Let's do a quick recap of what we talked about. We talked about why needy people never get what they want, because the fundamental assumption is they are not. Okay? They operate from this identity of lack. Their worldview and their paradigm becomes lack. Their thoughts and feelings lack. Their actions are aligned to what they believe to be true and what they think and feel every single day. Right? And then, this is more of a higher level view of what we just did here. This is more broken down. So at the being level, you focus on that 20K a month. You know, if you want to be who you are, you begin with the assumption of who you'd like to be. If you can't be, at least pretend to be. Pretend that you are. Just assume that you are. What would this 20K a month version of me do? Keep focusing on these and holding these assumptions to be true until the having becomes a reality. All right? So guys, thank you so much for watching this. I hope this was helpful. Leave me a comment below. Let me know what you thought of this. If you thought the whiteboard was cool, if you want me to, the blackboard was cool, you want me to go back to the whiteboard, or do you want me to do like conversational styles? I'm always trying to experiment to see what you guys resonate the most with and get value out of. If you're new to the channel, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and hit that little bell there so you're notified of any new video that I put out. And also, if you wanted to work closer together with me and my team to help you take your business to the next level by changing your internal world, by changing how you look at your world, where you operate from, the link to apply is in the description box below. So go down and click on that. Now, who we typically work with are people who are business owners, people who are entrepreneurs who want to scale their businesses, and they've tried all of the different tactics and strategies, but unfortunately they're stuck at this doing level. Right? They just keep doing, and they haven't been able to change their place of being, or they haven't been able to be consistent in who they really would like to be. Okay, and that's what I've spent my entire life doing. This has been my life's work, where I've systematically shifted into a different version of myself in order to experience what I wanted to experience, and that as a result of that, it followed. So if you'd like to experience that, the link for that is in the description below to apply. The free Facebook group is open for you to take advantage of. The link for that is also in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. Till next time. Peace.